So I'm Coach Valerie Green, and I help couples stop fighting and fall in love again. And I also help women to inspire their men to meet their deepest needs and desires. So I'm so happy to talk about today's concept, which is the mirror concept. And if you've read my blog, you know that what that means is that if you've been getting especially easily triggered lately, or you've been angry, or you've seen somebody either in your life or in the world as having a character flaw, then the mirror concept is really something that we'll have fun with today. Because what the mirror concept basically is about, it's about if you judge something in someone else, a quality in someone else, then that means that it's a quality inside yourself that you're either judging, or if you don't see that quality in yourself at all, then that means that you might have disowned that quality, and it's an opportunity to own it within yourself and then have more freedom and fun and play and wholeness when you can own that quality in yourself and, have more access to more types of behaviors and more playfulness and more wholeness. So I'm really excited to go over this mirror concept with you. So I'll start out by describing how I've used the mirror concept in my life. So as a lot of you might know who know me, I tend to have the personality of somebody, like a character trait that I've worked a lot with in myself has been perfectionism. And so, a lot of times in the past, I would have not done a video like this because, it's not perfect, like the background isn't perfect, right? Or like my hair isn't perfect, or I'm not using a script or whatever, right? So that would have kept me hidden and, boxed in, right? And then I wouldn't be doing videos like this. So I'll talk about both aspects of the mirror concept, how I use it in myself. So the first aspect of the mirror concept is that I would, in the past, judge other people that were perfectionists, right? Because it made me uncomfortable. Because then I had to look at that part of myself and I was judging that part of myself that was perfectionistic. And I was noticing the ways it would hold me back and prevent me from getting myself out there in the world, right? And so that's how I shine the mirror back on myself. Instead of judging them, I learned how to really look at how it was holding me back and give myself more permission to make mistakes and not look perfect and not do things perfectly, whatever that means, and to reframe it for myself. Like, get perfectionism out of the picture. I'm just happy to be sharing my truth and my knowledge with you and having fun with it, right? So that's how I turn the mirror back on myself. Or we could look at the other aspect of the mirror concept, which is if I'm disowning the part of myself, if I'm seeing myself as, things have to be perfect, then I'm disowning the part of myself that could just be, fun and playful and not care, right? And so I used to then judge people who showed that aspect of carelessness in their personality, like maybe if I went over somebody's place and it was messy, or they did a video that was, to use this video concept, that was messy, then I might judge them. So if I'm allowing myself to own more of my easygoing nature, then I feel more free and more whole and more happy, right? So you could look at a quality, let's say perfectionism versus being easygoing, as two sides of the same continuum. And what we want is to have access to all parts of our personality so that we can be the most free and the most whole. And so we can use the mirror concept to look at, are you judging someone in your life as having a character flaw? And if you are, then we can turn the mirror on you and see how we can use that for healing and for growth. So I actually don't know how to see the comments right now since I'm doing this Facebook Live from my computer, unfortunately. So you can type in the comments, and I'm happy to answer after this video is over. I'm happy to answer your questions in the comments. So what I'll do in this video is I will go to some questions that I got this week, because every week I'm doing a different topic. So feel free to email me your questions that you want me to answer in next week's topic. So this week I got a bunch of questions about the mirror concept. I'm excited to answer them in this video. So the first question I got is, what if I don't have that quality in myself at all? Like, what if you judge something in your partner and you just can't see it? I have absolutely no part of that in me, right? So I'm sure that we've all experienced that, right? We see a quality in someone else that we're like, no, I don't have any of that. And so what the mirror concept says is this might be an opportunity to be able to have a little bit more freedom and flexibility in yourself by owning that quality, by looking at where you might have it. So for example, I worked with a client who had a real judgment against people that were late. And she got really upset and, really angry when people were late. That seemed out of proportion to the situation. And so she realized, well, this is something I need to own within myself. So we looked at how she created her personality to not have any of that quality in it. And when we, sort of uncovered how she created her personality in childhood, we discovered that her mom was late a lot and had, left her sister and her waiting, and she felt abandoned. And so she'd really disowned the part of herself that could be more easygoing because she didn't want to hurt people. And so we had an opportunity to look at how her easygoing nature could be more integrated into her personality so that she could actually be happier and still, be respectful to other people. And so she started giving herself a little bit more permission to have wiggle room, to make mistakes and grow from them, and then, of course, still be respectful to other people. And then she felt happier. I have a friend who is frequently late, and I realized that I can't change her if I love her. So if I want to be friends with her, I have to accept that she's going to be late. And so that just gave me permission to own more of my own easygoing nature and give myself permission to be late when I'm going to meet up with her. And so that allowed me to actually experiment with, different ways of being myself. So my friendship with her helped me to grow in that way. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't establish boundaries and say something like, I'm going to leave if you're more than 30 minutes late, let's say. But that's not coming from a place of anger or judgment. It's just coming from a place of gratitude that she's helping me to grow. So that the mirror concept could really help you if you feel a lot of anger or judgment towards somebody, especially about their character. All right. So the next question is, I had another woman that shared. I'm still looking to see if I could see your comments. All right. I had another woman that shared this week in my Facebook post. I judge people when I think they're judging me. Haha. As in, I'm so much more enlightened than you are, poor soul. I don't judge people the way that you do. Which is funny, right? And I'm sure that a lot of more conscious people can relate to this, right? Because, when we think that we're conscious and someone's judging us, then we might be like, oh, they're not enlightened enough. But then, of course, we're judging them, which isn't very enlightened, right? So the way past this is, to get out of a judgment frame at all and to just really have compassion for our own feelings and needs. Like, if someone's judging me, then I might be hurt. I may be feeling hurt that I, am not feeling accepted by that person. And so the first step is to give myself compassion for those feelings and needs. And then what I would say to the person depends on what kind of relationship I have with them, of course. I coach people differently depending on the relationship. With my partner, if I feel judged, then I would say to him, ouch, that hurts. And then we have more intimacy. I'm not judging him. I'm just letting him into how I feel. So that's a fun concept to work with. So another question I got this week was, my husband is a spender and has gotten us into a lot of debt a few times by getting credit cards to buy me things that he feels that he wants to get for me or the kids, and then thinking he can pay them off before he gets a balance on them. But that doesn't happen. It makes me crazy since his heart is in the right place, but this is not a good plan long term, and I need to tell him I want to take over the bill paying so that I can feel that we're working together on our bigger financial plan. So first of all, to this woman, I want to congratulate you for having your eye on the bigger financial plan and goals, because that's something that a lot of couples neglect and they get into arguments. And that also that you're seeing his heart comes in from the right place. So those are two really good steps that you're taking even in this question. And I want to say that the mirror concept is only the first step that I would apply to this situation in order to help you solve it. Because what I would coach you to do is have a deeper conversation, and I'm actually going into this in much greater detail next week when I share about how I helped a couple resolve a money conflict using the mirror principle. And then also guiding them deeper to have a deeper conversation using another tool that I teach for how to create win-win solutions to conflicts. So let's first apply the mirror principle, and then I'll share, a little piece of where I would go next with this topic. So the mirror principle is really used if you're judging him or his character, right? Because it makes sense to talk about, to have a deeper conversation with him about this, but not if you're judging his character. So it sounds like what you're saying is that you judge some part of his character, and I'm just going to make this up since you're not here with me live. Maybe you judge him as being careless or irresponsible, let's say. Those are two judgments you might have of his character. So we can shine the mirror, just for fun on you, and just look at how might you sometimes be careless or irresponsible, right? Because we all do it sometimes. This is to have more compassion for this quality. So I don't know, maybe have you left your keys in the car? I know I've done that. Have you, left, the door unlocked or something like that? Or, if he's failing to plan, let's say, like how have you failed to plan during a time in your life? And so just to recognize that everyone does this sometimes, everyone has this trait in them, and you have more compassion. So that would be how I would use the mirror principle first, so that you have compassion for him instead of judging his character. So the gist of how I would solve this, and I'll go more into this next week, so this is a preview for what I'll do next week, is to have a deeper conversation with him then, not about the credit card debt per se, but to have a deeper conversation about what saving means to you, what your financial plan means to you, and then for him, what it means to him to be able to buy those things for you and your kids, what that does for him, what feeling that gives him, what values that gives him. So for each of that, I would go over, like what are your beliefs around that? What is your history around that? What does it really mean to you on a deeper level? To get compassion for each other's point of view first. And then once you both have empathy and compassion for each other's point of view, then there's more questions to ask yourselves as to how to create a win-win solution. So I'm going to be covering this in way more detail next week when I talk about how I help couples resolve money issues and any conflict that couples get into around the holidays using this win-win solution conversation. And so this week, what I'd like to offer is that I have a free video training on the homepage of my website. That's www.coachvaleriegreen.com. And you'll see that there's a free video training called 3 Steps to Stop Fighting and Start Connecting. So you enter your name and email, and you'll also get on my email list then. Of course, I never spam you. And then you'll be notified about when I'll go further into detail about how I help this couple resolve a money issue, which I'll talk about next week. But what you'll get is my free video training, which is the basics of how to have this kind of conversation where you go deeper into each other's feelings and needs and values and history around any topic so that you can feel more heard and validated, and you have empathy and compassion for each other, because that's the prerequisite for what you need to have that win-win solution conversation. And you'll also get an infographic that you can carry around on your phone to stop an argument anytime it starts. So this is how to transform an argument into a connected conversation. So I'll be going through that next week. So stay tuned, because I'll be talking about how couples can solve popular or, not popular, but well-known conflicts that couples get into around the holidays. So very important for this time of year. So if you found this video helpful, I encourage you to like it or comment on it. Let me know how I'm doing. And and also share it with those who might benefit. And I wish you a great week, and I'll talk to you again next week. Bye!